Jeremy Taylor. Jeremy Taylor was a clergy in the Church of England who achieved fame as an author during the during the protectorate of Oliver Cromwell. So we already know about the Cromwell. Okay, he is sometimes known as the Shakespeare of divines for his poetic style of expression, and he is frequently cited as one of the greatest prose writers in the English language. He is remembered in the liturgical mm, calendars of the Church of England and the Episcopal Church of the United States. Taylor was under the protection of William Laud, Archbishop of Canterbury. He went on to become chaplain in ordinary to King Charles I as a result of Laud's sponsorship. This made him politically suspect when Laud was tried for treason and executed in January 1644 or 5 by the Puritan Parliament during the English Civil War. After the parliamentary victory over the king, he was briefly imprisoned several times. Eventually, he was allowed to live quietly in Wales, where he became to private chaplain of the Charles of Carvery. After the Restoration, he was made Bishop of Down and Cornwall in Ireland. He also became Vice Chancellor of University of Dublin. His writings are most famous, and his famous works are um, explained below. That is the rule and exercise of holy living. Provided a manual of Christian practice, which has retained its place with devout readers. The scope of the work is described on the title page. The title also share the exact thing in it. It deals with the means and instruments of obtaining every virtue and the remedies against every vice, and consideration serving to the resisting all the temptations, together with prayers containing the whole duty of a Christian. And that their his next work is Holy Dying was perhaps even more popular. A very charming piece of work of a lighter kind was inspired by a question from his friend Mrs. Catherine Phillips, the matchless Orinda, asking how far is a dear and perfect friendship authorized by the principles of Christianity. So the Holy Divine Book contains with the questions, that is the perfection friendship with a dear and the principles of the Christianity. And the next book where he gave the answer, or in answer to this, he dedicated to the most indigenous and excellent Mrs. Catherine Phillips his discourse of the nature, offices and measure of friendship, another book that is published in 1657. His doctor Dubitantium, or the role of conscience, in published in 1660, was intended to be the standard manual of casuistry and ethics for the Christian people. His works were translated into Welsh by I. Nathaniel Jones. So it is also important for the experience that his works who translated his